Don your tinfoil hats because it's time to talk about Rapido.
The California Zephyr tying the Midwest to the Pacific. And the Zephyrette traveling the same rails on a different mission, not to bind together two halves of a mighty country, but to serve the small towns and way stations that lie between our large cities. The restless wheels of America are now on one car, moving swiftly and surely through 1,000 miles of deserted vastness to small places where it fills the needs of a few people. As each day is met on its own terms, the rails are kept shiny by constant use, and the signal on ahead is clear iron.
Be sure to stick around to the end of this video where I talk to Jason Shron about this new run of RDCs. Both the Canadian Pacific and Canadian National were initially hesitant to jump on the RDC bandwagon. After observing their success in the US for 6 years, they both decided to join in. By 1965, CN had a fleet of over 45 RDCs 1 through 9, with early units delivered in their green and yellow paint scheme. By this time in the mid-1960s, all their RDCs were due for a facelift, so CN underwent a massive modernization project updating the cab windows, pilot, and interiors. CP, on the other hand, had a fleet of over 55 RDCs, consisting primarily of RDC 1s and 2s. And while they didn't undergo a large modernization project like CN, they did repaint all of their RDCs from their delivery maroon and yellow to the hockey mask or action red scheme that most people are more familiar with today. Here I have a modernized CN RDC2 in the wet noodle scheme and a CP Action Red RDC3. Inside the box we have the Rapido lighter, manual, White River Productions insert, extra bags with stacks, doorways, mail compartment inserts, and more extra parts than you can possibly use. The CP box is much the same with variations in the extra parts provided. To get inside, remove the screws on each side and then remove the coupler boxes. Wedge open the tabs on each side with a thick piece of paper like a business card, and then gently wiggle off the shell. Here you can see how the mail inserts can be installed, and you can also see how I have no idea about the figuration to do so. To put the shell back on, just wiggle down on the body and put the coupler boxes and screws back in. On the CN model I added the extra stacks. Using some CA glue, it was quick, easy, and they look really good. Here you can see dark and ambient lighting side by side. Here's the headlight, dimmer, marker lights, and you can also see the interior lights which are controlled with the magnetic wand. Listening to the sounds, we have the engine start up, bell, horn, slow Doppler, and the fast Doppler. I tested the sound of the speaker in decibels, which is the standard measure of loudness. It registered at 84 after going through all the sound functions, which is about the volume of a household vacuum cleaner. As for NMRA Specs, the coupler height was spot on, but in one case it was just below, which shouldn't be any problem because you shouldn't be using these things to haul anything. The flanges all fell right in the grooves of the gauge, and when I checked the specs of the windows and body with the scale ruler, everything was spot on. Do people look at modelers and think it's weird that we need everything so precise? I mean, hey, I'm Joe, and today we're taking a look at vacuum cleaners. Some are metal, some are plastic, some are curvy, and some are flat. See you next week. Yeah, we're not that weird. I took the samples down to the club. They work great on 4% grades, and slow speed performance is top notch. Could we talk about the Canadian RDCs for a second?
Sure.
Cool. So that's your third run. What made you want to do a third run? Because its first run was your best powered model, your best selling
powered model ever. But we only did Canadian RDC ones. So remember, Canada had the biggest RDC fleet, like a huge RDC fleet. I mean, I think we had, I don't know the number off the top of my head, is about a third of the entire fleet was in Canada. And a quarter or a third of the entire fleet. And I remember the United States have 10 times the population of Canada, right? So, yeah. So for us, we had lots of, and then CN bought tons of RDCs from the States. So we ended up with via rail, CN and CP together had I don't know the exact number. You got to look at our website. It's 100 and something, huge number of RDCs. So we also had both phase 1 and phase 2, which are very different from each other. So on the first run, we did various phase 1 or phase 2 models. You couldn't do both, right? There wasn't enough demand for it to make like 10 CN RDC ones, right? So we just did, for example, CN, Noodle, and Via were all phase 1 models. So we wanted to make phase 2 models of the RDC1 for those roads. And then we wanted to make RDC2s and RDC3s. So it ended up being quite a big run of RDCs, Canadian RDCs. Not as big as the first run. We sold more. We sold about 50. The first run of Canadian RDCs is about 50% higher volume than the second run. That's because people bought a lot of RDCs in that first run. There were people buying like 6, 10 RDCs in that first run. So they, that many RDCs. So yeah, it was just to get out the stuff we hadn't done yet. So now we're like, we've got everything, we're done. The Canadian RDCs are done. I don't think we'll sell enough RDC4s to make it. I was hoping we would, but I don't think we will. But the Canadian RDCs are now done. We have more American RDCs to make. So there will be another RDC run coming before too long.
Ooh.
But because there's still a lot of American ones we haven't made yet. But the Canadian ones were, I think we've got everything. I've got all I need for my layout now. Canadian RDCs were good. RDC 9s, maybe, we'll see. Which are RDC 5s, I think they're called in the States. But maybe, we'll see. RDC 5s here, RDC 9s there. But it's the ones that only have one, they have no cab and they have only one engine.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But I think that the RDC is like, that's it for, we're now about to start 2021. I don't think there'll be RDCs before 2024 at the earliest. We've made so many of them.
Exactly.
3 good runs of RDCs. over the course of what 4 years. We had 3 runs in 4 years. That's amazing. So that's good. We're going to rest it for a while.
And I know that there was nothing major changed besides obviously like the tooling to create the different variations. But
it was. It's a big thing. Right? It's all these different shells that we have to do. Keeping track of all the different slides for the shells. You know, that was a big juggling act.
But the thing that stuck out to me, and I don't know why, the ring around the headlight on both sides, it just looked like, obviously it looked great last time because it's such a small minor thing, but this time it was right up against there. And I guess over the course of 3 runs you just get good at putting gaskets on LED lights, but it looked really good. Like, it looked great the first time too, but it was really clean.
We definitely got better. I'd have to say, looking at the RDCs, the fit and finish of this new run is the best RDC run we've done.
Absolutely.
We've done the RDCs at 2 factories. We did it at the Rapido factory the first run, the LRC factory for the second and third run, and it just got better and better. And Colin, my partner in the LRC factory, sends me a note saying, "These RDCs are very beautiful." I have to agree with them. They look really nice. I have more RDCs than I will need for now, because I have not yet built deck 1 of my layout, where all but 3 of the RDCs live on deck 1 of my layout. Most of Via's RDC fleet was based in Toronto, but I'm not starting deck 1 till I retire. So it's a huge job to build deck 1. It's a massive roundhouse, coach yard, Union Station.
Thanks to Model Railroad News for sponsoring this video. You can keep an eye out for a review of these RDCs in the February 2021 edition. So if you haven't already, please consider a subscription. As always, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. But the Canadian, after observing the modernized wet noodle. How do I hold these? Here I have noodle RDC2 and the CP. The CP box, and they look really good. Look really good, and they look great, Thanks to Model Railroad. Hey, I'm Joe. Hey, I'm Joe. Hey, I'm Joe. Hey, I'm Joe. Hi, I'm Joe. Hi, I'm Joe. Hey, I'm Joe, and today we're taking a look at vacuum cleaners.